Okay, people, so one of the biggest things that's been the topic of conversation over the last few months is the future of Cartoon Network. Because it was reported recently that there was a lot of changes happening over at Warner and all of these TV companies, and in general that there was going to be some subtractions to certain divisions being within Cartoon Network. That basically Cartoon Network was essentially going to be almost no more, at the very least the way you knew it, and it was kind of somewhat quote-unquote the death of Cartoon Network, as a lot of people were reporting. And essentially the company came out shortly after saying, we're not dead, we're making new stuff, because again, technically they're still around. It's just that they're going to be a little bit different, because essentially they've shuffled around and removed certain sections of their company, but they're still going. However, it seems as though, according to the president of Cartoon Network as it stands right now, that essentially we're going to be seeing Cartoon Network moving forward. It's going to be coming with new stuff, but also that they're going to be changing their motto. Now, I'm gonna keep it real with you. There's a lot of people that have thought for a long time that if you look at cartoons as they were back in the day as opposed to right now, essentially cartoons feel like they've kind of been a lot more dumbed down. You look at animation and you know see the story or whatnot, oftentimes things feel like, wow, we've kind of regressed in certain areas, and just in general it hasn't felt like cartoons were for all ages. Like, I've strayed very far away from a lot of stuff from Western animation simply because I felt like I've kind of outgrown it. However, it seems as though this president is cognizant of, dog, we have neglected the older audience for so freaking long, and maybe it could be because certain behind the scenes things going on that they're like, we kind of should recognize and utilize these viewers in our actual programming, in our creation, in how we move forward. Because yeah, it seems as though Cartoon Network is going in a positive direction, and the new Cartoon Network, as we will subtitle it, because yeah, it seems as though they got some plans. Let's read. This is a pretty awesome interview, I believe, again with the president of Cartoon Network and Adult Swim. Let's jump into it. Batwheels renewed for season 2 as Cartoon Network boss details Warner Brothers Discovery's animation strategy. Cartoon Network and Adult Swim president Michael Owelin knows you have questions about the fate of the two networks in the new belt-tightened Warner Brothers Discovery era, and it has changed, but we're not dead, he insists. It was weird to wake up a couple weeks ago and read our obituary as we were alive, says Owellian, whose oversight also includes Boomerang and Discovery Family. We got more stuff coming next year than we had this year. That includes preschool series Batwheels, which for preschoolers, why not? From Warner Brothers Animation, which Variety has exclusively learned has been renewed for a second season. Batwheels is #1 original preschool series with boys 2 to 5 on Cartoon Network, and the most watched original preschool series on HBO Max, according to the streamer. Okay, cool. Still, Orwellian doesn't downplay the tough changes going on at the animated network. It's definitely a pivot through the merger and through this kind of industry-wide correction that we're all seeing and navigating through, he says. As part of this ongoing downsizing at Warner Brothers Discovery, the company's decision to merge all development, which again, like I've said, there's a downsizing that's happened. That's why a lot of people were saying it was dead. All development for Cartoon Network Studios and Warner Brothers Animation under a single entity caused some alarms in that community. Cartoon Network's marketing chiefs also recently left, and Warner Brothers Discovery confirmed that it was pulling back on kids and family fare for its HBO Max streamer. Did that mean the end of Cartoon Network's signature fare, which over the years included Dexter's Laboratory, Adventure Time, and Steven Universe as we knew it? Hard recent decisions included the cancellations of Tuca and Birdie, which had been rescued by Adult Swim after Netflix initially cut it. I was glad that we were able to give it 2 more seasons and be able to let that thing evolve in front of people, Orwellian says. We're not looking to cancel shows, it's just we have to allocate the money we have in ways that we think are going to have the biggest impact and please the most number of people. You want to keep those creative relationships with people and see what else you can do. The shift at Cartoon Network also comes as HBO Max canceled 6 upcoming animated series. This is sad. Including Batman Cape Crusader, Merry Little Batman, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, Bye Bye Bunny, a Looney Tunes musical, Did I Do That to the Holidays, a Steve Urkel story, that would have been amazing, and The Amazing World of Gumball, the movie with oh my god, damn, I would have loved to see that. I have so many amazing, beautiful memories watching Gumball, just chilling back and shit. Wow. With HBO Max getting out of the kids and family business, it's up to Cartoon Network / Adult Swim to essentially now be the supplier for such content for the streamer. The go forward notion is Cartoon Network and Adult Swim will be the main source of animation at Max, and we're gearing up to share with them all the stuff we have in development right now, Orwellian says. We talk to those guys every week, pretty much, and coordinate and plan our activity together. According to Orwellian, the plan to build an ambitious kids and family business to compete with Disney, frankly, he says, has to be shelved in this new conglomerate. That plan, which included a live-action component, most of which has been now canceled, was wider than what Cartoon Network had historically been aimed at. As a result, the new plan is of a bit of a return to the original charter for Cartoon Network. When I joined the network in 1996, to our minds, it wasn't a kids network. It was an animation network. We said it was for a psychographic, not a demographic. The best animation works on a couple levels and works for a couple of different audiences at once, and I think that's where Cartoon Network's proper is coming back around too. The remit, I think, for us now is to go back to being the best animation across Cartoon and Adult Swim and serve the audience that is still there, starting on linear, which is adult. And that is huge right there, because essentially he's saying that they're going to stop being so like, yo, we got to get the kids, and we can get shows again more like what we used to get back in the day with Bruce Timm, the DC animated universe and stuff like that. We might be able to see cartoons that do that, because again, those can hit all demographics, especially, again, adults. Orwellian says Cartoon Network always attracted a large 18 to 49 audience, which is why the network introduced the Adult Swim block, which was later marketed and sold to advertisers as its own network, which they always said it was, so I guess it was still just under the same umbrella, so to speak. When we started Adult Swim, that was the first moment where we were like, oh wait, if that's a thing just for adults, what is Cartoon Network now? It took us, I'd say, a couple of years to figure out what Cartoon Network was. Now it's more natural for it to be aimed at doing great animated shows for everybody at once, and linear still has a healthy adult audience. Orwellian points to Adventure Time as a brand guidepost for the network moving forward. That's interesting. Adventure Time did accumulate a very big audience. Our median age is 29 during the day. That's crazy, dog. Almost 30-year-olds is their average of the people that watch during the daytime Cartoon Network. Think about that for a second. You know, everybody was with the cartoons for kids, but like average 29-year-olds. So the path forward is to lean into that and make really great stuff that appeals to young adults, and kids can watch it too. Cartoon Network Studios and Warner Brothers Animation will still exist as individual labels and continue to fall under the oversight of President Sam Register. We've known each other for so long and both see our responsibility as humans on the planet to make sure that the words Cartoon Network stay as vibrant and strong as possible, Orwellian says. Cartoon Network Studios is still a distinct creative entity and aimed at all the things that Cartoon Network Studios has always aimed at, which is unique creators, first-time creators, building shows that are worlds and new ideas, pushing the conversation forward in terms of animation. Upcoming Cartoon Network still has previously greenlit new episodes of preschool series. They got a lot of preschool stuff, even though you're greenlighting a whole bunch of preschool. Bugs Bunny, Builders, Sesame Street Mecha, maybe that's like the last of what they've done from the previous batch. Maybe that's what it is. As well as new seasons of, because yeah, animation takes a while. As well as new seasons of Craig of the Creek, which I've heard also a lot of problems there. We Baby Bears and Teen Titans Go. Isn't Teen Titans Go like all they play most of the time? There's a premiere of Gremlins Secrets of the Mogwai, Unicorn Warriors Eternal, and My Adventures with Superman. New episodes of Summer Camp Island and Jellystone are on deck, as are the premieres of The Heroic Quest of Valiant Prince Ivadone, Ianu, Child of Wonder. I think that it makes sense to introduce young audience to Warner Brothers Discovery IP through preschool, Orwellian says. So wait, you were just talking about adult stuff, but I guess they're just not abandoning it completely, so... Alright, I don't want to talk about the preschool stuff, to be honest. Sometimes people think we're niche or think animation is small and don't understand the power of it, Orwellian says. It helps having Rick and Morty for everyone to understand, like, oh, this can be big. This could be a popular thing. And we've been expanding Adult Swim globally. On the Adult Swim side, back in 2023, are Rick and Morty, YOLO Silver Destiny, the Eric Andre show. I really, well, some of the earliest stuff I really loved of Eric Andre I haven't watched lately. Teenage Youth in Asia, okay. FLCL Grunge, new Fully Cooley, and FLCL Grow Gaze. Okay, so I think that's all new Fully Cooley, or maybe the one that aired and maybe a new one, or did they already put all of the new Fully Cooley stuff out? Also upcoming are Metallicalypse and Venture Bros featuring plus Rick and Morty, the anime. I'm looking forward to that. When we get out of thinking of Cartoon Network as just living and dying based on kid revenue, it actually frees us up to do more and lean into really what our core audience was, which is let's advance what the animation art form can do and create iconic stuff, Orwellian says. And yeah, honestly, this this article was very fascinating to see that. It seems as though right now they're probably edging out all of the last stuff that they have of preschool stuff, but it looks like moving forward, this new Cartoon Network, so to speak, is going to start gearing towards an older demographic. I haven't heard that in a while. Like, it always feels like everything is going family friendly, but I'm gonna bet on this. One of the reasons, because I look at the anime and manga industry as well, most of the teens that are getting into like cartoons or animation in general, they're running off to anime. You know, anime is really holding a stronghold a lot more than it was back when an Adventure Time popped off, so to speak. So they're probably having a lot more difficulty, you know, penetrating that market. Like, anime is becoming a family friendly thing where people are running to the theaters to watch it. So rather than try to compete in terms of that direction, they're like, okay, let's go back to what we did best in the past and make cartoons that everybody can rock with. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's a reason why all of those cartoons that they keep allocating on different platforms like Boomerang or any of these older like throwback Cartoon Network, like the reason why they keep on doing that is because people love those cartoons. Courage the Cowardly Dog, yes, Dexter's Laboratory, all of that stuff. People love that type of, you know, vibe, all of those things that those cartoons that are iconic had to offer. Go back to making stuff like that and not so much thinking about, like, you know, catering towards, well, how would a 2-year-old feel about this? Don't get me wrong, kids need cartoons, but if you was to appeal to, again, they said their daytime demographic on average is 29. That's almost 30 years old is their average person, the average person watching Cartoon Network during the day. That's something to think about in the future. Is like, well, okay, that 29-year-old might want to rock with something, and hey, you know, there's revenue that comes behind that because you can sell that 29-year-old a product based on whatever it is that you're putting in front of them that is more catered towards them. So a lot of really interesting and cool stuff to look forward to see what they're going to do moving forward, and just in general, the fact that, because, you know, I did report on Cartoon Network being dead as it was reported based off of all of these mechanics going on behind the scenes, but nevertheless, it looks like the future Cartoon Network, it might be on a smaller scale, smaller budgeted, but it looks like they're going to go really hardcore with giving stuff that we're actually going to indulge in, and not, you know, 1,000 reruns of Teen Titans Go as they've been over the last few years. It looks like the competition has gotten steep and now they have to re-strategize. It's like the whole world has been going through some sort of reset as of recent, of everything is just going down in terms of, like, you know, numbers and, you know, companies maneuvering and stuff like that. And this is just another case of, okay, cable TV is still trying to combat all of these Netflixes and stuff like that, and I'm looking forward to again seeing it. I think that they could do something interesting if they're truly going back to their roots and making the cartoons that made Cartoon Network what we fell in love with all of those years ago. That's all I have for this one. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Subscribe and hit that bell to get more. Yeah.